Try to get this set up here where it's kind of at a nice little angle. There we go. Kind of chill, laid back type of video here. Get my pillows all nice and cozy. So I just want to kind of talk a little bit about if you're a guy, even a girl who's, I'm just going to say a dude, because I feel like that's kind of a nice, I feel like that doesn't really imply guy or girl. Like I'll just kind of say dude to anybody who comes along, right? But I wanted to talk about how, if you feel like you are broken right now because of a diagnosis that you recently got, or even if it hasn't been recently, but you've been fighting cancer, or if you've been in remission for a while even, but you are struggling mentally with the weight of what it means to be affected by this thing. I just wanted to let you know that, one, you're not alone. You're not alone in feeling alone. Like, whenever I started my treatment plan, I was very fortunate because I had a lot of really good friends around me. I had some great buddies that came alongside me, and I say buddies, I mean guys and girls both, that they were at every single treatment with me. One of my friends, she actually picked me up from my parents' house where I was staying at the time, and drove me to every single treatment. I had another great buddy that is a successful guy that could have easily said that he was too busy, but he made time every single treatment to come hang out with me and bring me a big ass cup of coffee so that I wouldn't get tired, and worn out. And so I'm saying that to say I didn't have, I had the luxury of having a support system already going into this treatment, but I didn't have like a great community necessarily just at the hospital that I was at, and I think that a lot of hospitals try really hard to put together something really special where it's like, you can be supported, and they'll, help you pay for your stuff, and they'll help you, get rides to your treatments and even house you. So I'm not saying that those support systems aren't there, and those are great. But dude, it's like, it's hard to go through something like that, to go through treatment and not feel a little alone, like I had a buddy that got diagnosed when he was 25, and I got diagnosed whenever I was 25. And we had only known each other for a year or two at this point, maybe 1 year at this point. And I was able to get a lot of just kind of mental clarity, I think, from him in a way that other people couldn't really help me, And I guess I'm saying all this because for me, it could have been very hard for me. It could have been a lot harder than it was if I just didn't have the friends that I had going into it. So whenever I think about that and think about it like that, it makes me want to extend a helping hand to people that might not have that same support system that I had, because I am a firm believer that the hospital that I went to for treatment was one of the best in the country. I went to Carti in Little Rock, Arkansas. Absolutely amazing team, just the nicest, best humans and best souls that you would ever meet. And in the middle of all that, I feel like my nurses were great, and that was all great, but it's like you can only handle so much of somebody looking at you going, oh, is there anything I can do for you? What do you need? This and that. And it's like, sometimes you don't need that. Sometimes you need somebody to like come and kind of bust your balls a little bit and make you laugh and like make you feel like you're a human. Because whenever you become a cancer survivor, right? Whenever you become a cancer patient and you're fighting this thing, I think a lot of people immediately, their first thing is like, I've got to now manage all the emotions of my friends who are going to be worried about me and my mom. And like, I've got to not only manage this internal pain that I'm feeling and the stress and uncertainty and all those hard emotions. It's like, not only do I have to manage those emotions, but now everybody else that's worried about me, I've got to constantly put this strong face on, this strong front to make sure that they don't worry about me. And that's tough, because then it's like whenever people ask how you're doing, it's like you don't know if they have the bandwidth to actually handle how you're really doing. So it's like when somebody asks, oh, how's treatment going? Dude, treatment's awesome. It's the easiest shit ever. Doesn't hurt. Haven't gotten sick at all. I've just been crushing it, been making cancer my little bitch. It's like that was my dialogue with most of my people, except for a very, very, very select few where I was able to just open up and be like, I haven't been super sick. I've been very fortunate, but shit, this is fucking hard. Like, this is hard, like this just sucks. Energy levels are low. I've got mouth ulcers so bad that I can't eat, can't talk, can't smile. I've got, just a lot of doubt and fear about whether or not this thing's going to come back. And I haven't even finished treatment yet. And all these things, it's like those were some of the conversations that I was able to have with a couple buddies that it was really, really nice, And so that's part of why I wanted to make a video like this, was to kind of extend that sense of like, hey, you're not alone, even though it feels like you're alone, and you're probably having to kind of manage other people's emotions right now a lot, especially if you just got that diagnosis. I swear, for like the first 6 months of having cancer, it's like, it almost becomes your narrative. It's like everybody looks at you differently. And so I'm glad that I was upfront with it. I'm glad that I used this disease as an outlet for creativity and as a reason to connect with people and things like that. However, part of me really didn't want to do that. Part of me really was just like, fuck, I should have never told anybody about this, because now everybody looks at me differently. They're always asking me. That's like the first thing that they ask me about. And to be fair, I was kind of used to that type of interaction because I was born with only one hand. So I'm almost used to people being concerned about me. Like, I'm very used to having to manage other people's emotions when they first meet me, and like, okay, it's like, how do I use humor to make sure that this is light enough so that this person feels comfortable around me having one hand? And then the same kind of energy kind of carried over, the same behavior, I guess you could say. My internal reaction to other people, like, it was kind of the same whenever I got diagnosed with cancer. But honestly, something that cancer has taught me, and just going through this whole process, is that the best people that I've ever met are people who are broken, especially men. The best men that I've ever known are guys who have had to stare a big, scary disease or massive heartbreak or losing their business, like any of these things that I would call a big change event. Any of these things would be enough to take somebody out and just make you, it crushes your ego. It takes away your persona of strength and I would consider fragile masculinity or boyishness, where it's like you feel like you don't have to depend on other people and you put that persona out there. Whenever you go through something like cancer, man, it strips that from you. It takes that away from you. And it puts you in a position where you just got to surrender. You got to surrender to the outcome. You got to look at this thing and go, oh, is this going to take me out? This really might. Whenever I got diagnosed with cancer, before I got my prognosis, I had no idea how bad it was. I just knew that I had a hard tissue mass on my chest and my lymph nodes were completely swollen throughout my neck and throughout places in my body. And it was like, I know that this is cancer now, but we don't know how bad that is, and it's like that for me personally. Oh man, I remember laying down at night, the night before that check-in with I was going to meet my oncologist for the first time, and I was going to get my prognosis and see my scans and everything. And it was like, it was just like, I knew that I was in for, some trauma. I knew I was in for some hardship, but it's like, you don't know how bad it is. It's like, you might get in there and it would be like, okay, this is going to be easy. Yeah, it's going to be gone in a couple weeks. Or you might get in there and be like, this is unfixable. There's nothing we can do. And that, in that moment, for me, the night before that meeting with my oncologist, I just remember laying in bed and being like, this really might kill me. Like, I could not be here in like 6 months. And the gravity of a conversation with God or with yourself or with your higher self, whatever you want to call it, like the weight that you feel whenever you have to come to a very hard realization of, this could just be the end of me. That breaks you. It breaks your ego in a way where you can't come back from that. Like, and I don't mean that in a way of like you can't come back, you can't recover, you can't, you're just mentally and emotionally broken forever. That's not what I mean. I mean that your ego cannot ever fully come back to a place where you feel unbreakable and invincible. You become a very grounded individual where you have a sense of your mortality. And that's a very humbling experience. And all the best people, the best men, at least, that I've met, and I'm saying men just because, I'm a dude, I'm just kind of sharing my experience, and, I'm sure that the same can be said for women in some cases. But from my experience, the best men that I've ever met are broken men that have been through an experience like that, where you've got to surrender the outcome because you don't know what the fuck's going to happen. And whenever you do that, it almost unlocks something inside of you where you don't take the stresses of life as seriously as other people. And it's like, man, you just have perspective on what's really important. And there's a certain character development that happens in the process of that, where a lot of your boyish, selfish desires just kind of fade to the background. They don't fully go away. It's like, I'm not saying that I don't have any desires at all anymore. I'm just saying that, maybe that's not as important as I thought it was. maybe that car is not as important as I thought it was, or maybe the house or the status or this or that. It's like, dude, none of that shit fucking matters. And you realize that when you go through something like a cancer diagnosis. And so, I've never heard anybody say this, and I don't know why I feel so strongly this way, but in my opinion, getting cancer was the best thing that happened to me. And my pastor would tell me that no, being saved by Christ was the best thing that ever happened to me. Whatever, sure. I'm a Southern boy. You might not believe in that, and that's fine. But genuinely going through the experience of questioning whether or not I will be able to fight this thing, questioning everything about everything, like having everything that I ever thought was important be completely smashed and replaced with, if you just have your health and you've got a few good buddies that you can talk to and you've got a few good people that you can surround yourself with, like you're the wealthiest man on the planet. Something that this process taught me is that relationships are the greatest wealth in the world. And I felt like one of the wealthiest people in the world whenever I saw my friends surround me and come together with me throughout this process. And so, and even if you don't have that, that's okay, but you will probably still feel the weight of like, man, these material things, they really are, as the Stoics say, preferred indifference, where it's like, I would prefer to have a nice car. I'd prefer to have a nice house. I'd prefer to have a well-paying job. I would prefer all those things. And they're indifferent. Where I kind of disagree with the Stoic philosophy is that I think if you just read those texts strictly and you take them for a black and white, it's like they would also say that having family and having friends are preferred indifference. That's where I disagree with that. I think that your friends and your family and the people that are in your life, I think that is the greatest source of wealth in your world. And I would also say though that, anything that's circumstantial, like your health even, I would prefer to be healthy. But if I'm not healthy, in a way, follow me here, in a way, it's kind of like I'm indifferent as to whether or not I'm healthy because I've got X, Y, and Z. I've got these people around me. I've got this sense of community. I've got a greater sense of perspective for what's really important in life. And, I know that's a stretch. That's probably a little bit of a stretch, but, it's some of the things that you kind of just do mentally when you've got this big, scary thing staring you in the face and there's no getting away from it. There's no running away. You can't run away from cancer, I think that's one of the things that forced me to really look at my life from a much more mature and I would say masculine perspective is that, sometimes life is just going to give you things you can't fucking run away from. And for me, one of those things is cancer. One of them was being born with one hand. Another one was like filing for bankruptcy, losing my business whenever I was 23, something like that. And it's interesting how life, whatever you want to call it, it's interesting how God humbles you, because I fully thought that I was in a place where I had already been through bankruptcy. I was born with one hand. I saw myself as an overcomer. I saw myself as somebody that like, you can throw whatever you want to at me. Like I remember having internally, I had this like conversation with myself after I had finished bankruptcy and gone through, a big change event. I had been through one big change event already in my life, which was I lost my girlfriend, I lost my business, and I lost my home, not my house. I didn't own a house, but like everything changed for me all at once. And it was just like a massive reset, right? And I thought internally, I was like, I've been through the worst of the worst. I can handle anything. And I remember talking to God and being like, I'm ready for a challenge. And I thought that was going to be a business. I was like, I'm going to start this big business. I'm ready to start making some money. I'm ready for hardship. Rah, rah. And it ended up, not too long after that, I ended up getting diagnosed with cancer. And then I was just kind of like, fuck. Did I ask for this? Did I ask God to give me this? Like, oh man, that was tough. So I guess the takeaway from this rant is that it might feel right now, if you're somebody who's just gotten a diagnosis, or if you are in remission, but you're still, what the fuck is remission? It's just like your cancer is like not active and it's gone away and you don't have any signs of active cancer, and it's like, that's great. And there's a reason that doctors hesitate to tell you that you're cured. It's like, why is the standard that you're not really cured or considered cured for most types of cancer until you're 5 years into remission? Because it comes back sometimes, And so it's like, I don't care if you have just gotten the diagnosis or if you're 656 days into remission like I am. I'm almost 2 years into remission. Praise God. But up here mentally, it's like there's still like probably at least once a month, maybe every week, I still have like those moments where it's like, man, I feel like my cancer's coming back. I'm terrified, I'm like fully paranoid, and I'm like feeling my lymph nodes, and I'm like, my energy levels dropped a little bit this week. Does that mean that my cancer's back? Or I had night sweats one night. I woke up a little sweaty. Are my night sweats coming back? It's like, there's always going to be fear. And what I'm getting at with all of this is that if you are in any of those phases, if you're in treatment, just gotten a diagnosis, you're in treatment, or you're in remission, what you're faced with is going to be the best thing that has ever happened to you. What has happened the day that you got your letter of diagnosis, whatever that's called, papers, you got diagnosed, whatever, you got the bad news, right? As soon as you got that bad news, boom, that's this point in time. After that, you will never be the same. You're never going to be the same. You entered into, once you got diagnosed with cancer, you have entered into a new phase of your life, into a new realm of challenge and mental hardship and emotional struggle that most people, I say most people, a lot of people actually get cancer now, but a lot of people will never understand that who don't have cancer. And that is going to be the thing that sets you apart from so many people. And I know that that's just probably sounds like mental gymnastics, like, yeah, you're just trying to flip this bad thing into something that's good because it's supposed to be hard, and then hardships make you stronger, right? But it's not even like that. Like it is about the grittiness and the hardship that you're going to go through. Like that does change your character and add to your character and make you a better person. But you'll be able to relate to people who have been through hardship in a way that other people can't. Excuse me. You will be able to instantly recognize someone who's been through the same shit that you have. You'll be able to walk around with a level of confidence that most people don't have because your life has been, not by a choice of your own, but your life has been put into perspective for you. Like, you now see the things that are important and you realize the things that are important. And it might not seem like it right now, but this experience of you getting cancer, if you want it to be, and if you pour into yourself, this can be one of the greatest experiences of your life because it gives you the opportunity to change. Big change events, things that are traumatizing, traumatic experiences that, okay, it's not like it's a choice. Like a New Year's resolution is not a big change event. You can use a New Year's resolution as an excuse to change a bunch of your circumstances, but that's by choice. What I'm talking about is an event that happens at a certain point in your life where no matter what you wish could happen, your life is just different. Things are changing and you have no control over it. You can't just decide to not have cancer anymore. So because that change is happening, what most people don't realize is you're experiencing some trauma, okay? There's parts of your brain that are waking up that haven't been awake in a long time, and you are primed for change. And so if you want to set some new habits, now's the time. If you want to start getting healthy, now's the time. If you want to start eating better, you want to start working out, you want to start walking, you want to start valuing family time more and spending more time with your family, all of those things that probably were not as strong of habits for you that you maybe want to change, you now, because of the trauma that you're faced with, because of cancer, you get to choose. You get to choose whatever you want. You get to change whatever lifestyle changes you want to make. You know, what better excuse to change your career path or change into a healthier role for yourself? Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like the takeaway that I had from cancer and from all of this, and if you really are curious, you can scroll all the way back to my very first video that I think I ever put on this channel, but it was like a letter to all those who just got the bad news or something like that. And it's like, you know, it's a cool video. That was a big creative outlet for me. There was a lot of creativity and pain and just all the shit that I was going through with cancer, I kind of poured into that. And the takeaway from that is you're going through something that will break you. You know, unquestionably, undoubtedly, this will break you. It is currently breaking you. And yet, you get the choice of the pieces of yourself that you get to create. You get to choose your new self. You get to reshape everything that there is about you. You know, it's like, I think I was not a very grateful person. I think I was, tornado sirens going off. It's 12 o'clock on Wednesday. I was not a very grateful person before I got diagnosed with cancer. I was hardworking. I had a lot of good qualities, but I'd say that I wasn't nearly as spiritual because I hadn't really surrendered to something bigger than myself. And trust me, I'm not a very religious guy. You know, I'm not like out here I'm not a, what do you call those where you try to recruit people to a certain religion to save people. Like, I'm not a I'm not a hardcore religious person. However, I do believe in God, and I'm in touch with something bigger than myself. And I think that cancer was the thing that really put me in a position where I was out of control of my entire life, at that point. And it made me not give up. Like, people hear surrender and they think, oh, that's just an excuse to quit trying. No, it's not. Surrender means I'm really not in control of how this is going to go because I have no idea how this is going to go. All I can do is try everything that is within my power to the best of my ability. And only then do I have a shot. Like, it works both ways. Surrender to me is whenever you let go of the outcome and you say, you know what? This is my time, it's my time. Cool. Sucks. Got a lot of people that are counting on me that I would have liked to be here for. And I'm not giving up, but I can't really control this, so I've got to just give it to God, give it to the universe, give it to my higher self, however you want to frame that in your life, however you want to frame the thing that's bigger than you, right? But for me, it was, I'm surrendering the outcome, and I'm going to do uncomfortable work. I'm going to do everything that I can to just try to make this go the way that I would like it to go. I'm going to try everything I can to stack the odds in my favor. And at the same time, I'm painfully aware of how little I actually am in control of. And that mentality is going to carry over into every other aspect of your life. And there's a lot of humility that comes with that because we don't actually have that much that we can truly control. We have our reactions and our behaviors. That's just about it. So, I guess this little couch convo, typically I would be drinking a coffee, but these things are pretty good. Not a sponsor or anything. I mean, I have 0 followers on this channel, but these are pretty cool. I like these. It's a little non-FDA approved. It's kind of like an energy drink, but it's marketed as a productivity drink. But I don't know. I think it's good. It's kind of like a little supplement. It's got some good stuff in there. But shit, that shit's probably gonna give me cancer again. I'm over here like, yeah, cancer's great. It's gonna change your fucking life, man. And then I'm drinking something that, I don't know. No, it's great. It's good stuff. I think it's made by some good people. But, oh, yeah, I don't know. And like, I don't really have that many great things to say, I don't think. I just want to, for my own conscience, put this stuff out there because I met a couple people throughout my journey on cancer who didn't have the support that I had, who didn't have the circumstances that I was fortunate enough to have. And it was hard on them. It was really hard on them. I mean, I'm talking about guys that were younger than me, who were going through cancer at the same time that I was. And for the most part, I was pretty healthy throughout cancer. Like, my motto was like, oh, I'm healthy as fuck. I just happened to have cancer, right? That was kind of the way that I chose to look at it. And there were some guys that I met that just were going through it. You could just see, like, you ever just see somebody that the light is just like taken out of their eyes? Like, they just don't, you can just see in their eyes that they've already given up and they're defeated before they ever even started. And that was the thing that I was grateful that I didn't have that same sense of like, fuck, just like for some reason I just had this fight in me that I wanted to like kick cancer's ass. Like I had decided mentally that I was healthy. I did everything in my power to stay healthy, changed my diet a little bit, started working out more, more intensely. And I really took ownership of everything that I could that was within my power to take control of. And that served me well. And, I tried to have a sense of humor about it. Like every single person that would ask me, and part of this was me just trying to make people feel better about my circumstances, what we talked about earlier. But everybody that would ask me to be like, oh, I heard the news. Hey, how's it going, man? How's your treatment? Are you in treatment? And I'd be like, oh, it's great, dude. Yeah, I've actually already beat cancer. They'd be like, oh, really? Be like, yeah, I'm making cancer my little bitch. And that was like throughout the whole process. Like I told that to so many people, so many different ways and so many times, but I kind of, made this motto for myself where it was like, not only is it going good, but I'm making cancer my little bitch. Like it was just like, so good, Made up jokes with friends, cuck fancer. It's like fuck cancer, but I don't need to explain that. But yeah. So yeah, at the end of the day, I just want to try to put these things out here so that maybe somebody won't feel as alone in this process. And if you just got diagnosed, if you are going through treatment, or if you're going through remission, you got to know that this is a battle every day. It's a mental battle against the part of yourself that is worried and scared and afraid that cancer is going to come back, and the part of you that's taking ownership of everything in your power and trying to create a better life for yourself, because that's what you've chosen to do. You've chosen to realize that all these parts of yourself are obliterated, and your personality and your circumstance, everything is just smashed to pieces. Your whole world is crushed, But you get to sit here and look at all the pieces where they've fallen, and you get to say, while we're here, that part of me that was a little bit resentful, I don't need to pick that piece back up. The part of me over here that was a little bit, hateful towards others sometimes, or this part of me that was kind of jealous, this part of me that was kind of sloth-like, a little bit lazy, I'm not going to pick it back up. There's a good quote. I don't know who, I think Jordan Peterson maybe said this, and maybe I heard this in one of his biblical series, like his psychological significance of the biblical series, something like that. I don't know. Somewhere in there, he has a saying that he talks about how, there comes a point in life where you realize that you're mostly dead wood. Most of you must go, like a lot of you. You've got to just let go of. But the best of you can stay, and the best of you is there. And it for sure is there. You just gotta look. So this is kind of like one of those like reasons to do that, right? Because like cancer is a traumatic thing. It's traumatizing. You're gonna have shit that you gotta work through, Like I've spent tons of money on a counselor after going through cancer. And it's an excuse for you to realize that your world has been kind of flipped upside down and smashed to smithereens, right? And you get to look around at all the pieces, and you get to pick which pieces you want to keep around and reassemble into your new self, in a way. So get excited, because genuinely, this is going to be one of the best things that has ever happened to you. If you handle it with some grace. If you just choose to be a victim, it's not going to end well for you. I'll tell you that. The people that go through this, and almost use cancer as an excuse to become a victim of circumstance. Like something that I thought whenever I was going through this, whenever I was really trying to journal and reflect and decide who I wanted to be after this whole process, a thought that really stuck with me was that, kind of lost my train of thought there. Sorry. Key in my brain. If you become a victim of this disease, then you will become a victim of circumstance, and that will bleed into every other part of your life. But if instead you say, you know what, this disease is really making me pause. It's making me look at my life from a different lens. It's making me see parts of myself that I don't want to hold on to. It's making me realize where I want to go with my life. This is changing me. It's a big, big change event, and I'm changing anyway, so motherfucker, I'm going to change for the better. If you can look at it like that, and you can genuinely feel that in your soul, in your freaking bones, it gives me chills just thinking about it, then you can and you will do great things with your life. This is like the catalyst that will set you on a different trajectory. And I think that if people really realized how cancer changed my life for the better, they wouldn't take pity on me. It's like that's like something you can like have a sense of pride about. Like you can almost have a little twinkle in your eye whenever people are kind of talking to you, asking you about your cancer journey and all those things. You can kind of sit back and smile and go, yeah, these guys, they have no idea that this is actually changing my life in the best way possible. And I can't explain that to them because they're going to think I'm crazy. But it really is. So, I don't know. Hopefully there's something in here worth, your time. If you, for whatever reason, made it to the end of this long ass video, just listening to me sit here with my beverage on the couch with my cozy pillows, then I'm so grateful that you hung around. I mean, this is kind of what it's all about, just trying to put some things out there that are, worth listening to and are genuinely helpful. Like I don't want to ever make something like this that's not helpful at all. So this is also really good for me because I get to reinforce things that I've learned and that I want to remember, for myself. And yeah, it's been a good chat. So I hope that you have a great day. I hope that you enjoy life so much more now that you have had life kind of put into perspective for you by this disease. If you do have the disease, if you don't have the disease and you're watching this video, then, be jealous, bitch, you don't have cancer. No. No, I think that if you do have cancer though, take a breath, take a few breaths, and just sit with it for a little bit, It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay, and it's gonna be better than okay. And I don't know anybody that will tell you that, because it's a scary thing. But a quote that I really like is, I don't know where I saw this. This was probably like on some bullshit Pinterest thing, but it stuck with me. There's a saying that goes, those who jump into the void owe no explanation to those who stand by and watch. And I think in a lot of ways, especially if you're a young guy or, even an older dude, if you're a guy, especially if you're a guy, cancer is an initiation. I mean, that's what it was for me ultimately. It's an initiation into something more. It's an initiation into a state of being that is more elevated and more masculine and more honorable and kinder and more godlike. That's the truth. It is a thing that you have to deal with. You have no choice. You can't just sit by and not face this. I mean, you can, but it's not going to go very well, So, with that being said, if you're a dude who has been presented with this very, very hard challenge, you're jumping into a void and you have no choice. You have no choice but to dive into this void and face the demons that are in there. And there will be people that stand by and watch, and there will be people that criticize your choices. And you owe them no explanation. So if anything, use cancer as an excuse to own being yourself, to lean into the parts of yourself that feel more authentic. I think that is a good stopping point, I think, for this video, because that's something that I want to remember. Those who dive into the void, those who jump into the void, they have no need to listen to those who stand by and watch. They don't need to answer to those who stand by and watch. People who are on the sidelines not knowing what you're going through, most people will be super supportive, but even after your diagnosis, even after you finish treatment, you're still in it, man. Like, it doesn't just go away, I mean, I'm 2 years into remission and I still battle with this stuff every day. And I'm diving in every day. I'm in that void, and there's people who don't know what it's like that may want to give you criticism. But trust me when I say that those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. So you should do what you say, what you feel, and do what you think. Say what you think and do what you feel. I don't remember. It's a Dr. Seuss quote. You can look it up. But it's one of my favorite quotes. Anyways, use this as an excuse to dive deeply into yourself and figure out who you are. This is a great reconstruction of yourself. So, cancer sucks. The traumatizing factor of chemo and treatment, and everybody's journey is different. So I know mine was actually relatively easy compared to some of the people that I know. So I'm not trying to compare my story to yours, I just hope that maybe there's something in here that you can take away and use in your life. So hopefully this lifts your spirits a little bit and makes you want to not give up and just keep fighting. And that's my aim with this. I want to try to lift your spirits a little bit and make you feel like you're not alone, because you're not. So this is a long video, but some really heartfelt things in here. So hopefully you have found something of value, and I'm going to go ahead and end this video. So I will see you soon. Peace.